Hey folks, it's Brian. We just got done playing Elderath. Interesting session. We started off just kind of recapturing where we were last time and what happened, and I pulled up my notes. And this was the last thing I had. Is we kind of recaptured some stuff, and then there was a little bit of a retcon dealing with. Shoot, I forgot now what it was. Had to do with Raymond, though, if I remember right. Because we're all going to do downtime at the villa, but first we had to go back with Wes, going back to the temple, hooking up with everybody else, and then heading out, kind of thing. Um, and that then went into lots and lots of discussion on time and things and making check mark rolls and all that kind of stuff. It is in live play. I didn't shut it off, so there's a lot of this whole stuff you don't really need to be listening to, and a lot of dead time. Plus, we're trying to figure out. Okay, Wes has got this, wants to increase his um, spell levels of two of the lists he currently has. And I still remember how Iron Crown does it with spell law, right? You actually learn spells in blocks. And if it's a base spell or a closed list or a base list, they come in blocks of 10. Um, open. Maybe it is open. Base and open. Closed lists are blocks of 5. That kind of thing, right? And so that's how I think about this, but that's not exactly how we play it out. So he wants to be able to learn his list up to level 10. Um, and we do some mechanics on the spreadsheet dealing with time, and it turns out that would take just over 16 hours. So that's 2 days kind of thing. So that's easy. That's not a problem. And I do two of those, one for light law and one for wind law. And then one of the treasure things we got from the expedition was wizard staff list to level 10. Um, and apparently it was going to take some ungodly amount of time to learn up to level 10 from 0. So I just learned it to 5. So it took 3 weeks from 0 to 5. I'm not sure how that all worked out, but it is what it is. And so we're spending 3 weeks. Was it just under 3 weeks? So it was a total of 3 weeks we're spending doing stuff. So everybody gets to do some other things. Wes is learning his spell list, increasing them up. Haven't a chance to look through them, but it was kind of mentioned that the light list now I can throw lightning bolts. But if we're just moving from a D4 to a D6, is that really that significant of a difference? Not to me. Um, but I did look at the wizard staff list, which has some interesting aspects because the mechanics are written for spell law. You got this +1 spell adder. Well, in spell law, that means I could cast any spell I know without a PowerPoint, a mana cost, right? It's free. So I'm not sure how the GM is going to handle that. And then there's these words, right? It allows the spellcaster to take, I forgot the exact words, but a substance, wood, bone, or metal to, quote, form a staff. Now, does that mean that it magically, I just take this hunk of wood and I do this magic stuff for an hour, and now I've got this nice smooth looking staff, all curly or whatever, with heads of dragons on the top and that kind of thing, without any crafting skill required? I don't know. To me, form a staff means it gives that thing the properties of being a magic staff. The +1 adder, +5 bonus. Now it says +5 quarterstaff because that's how they picture it. Magic using a quarterstaff. But what if it's just a wand, right? Or a rod, one-handed kind of thing. You don't want a full long staff. You want something different, or for that matter, a ring. Could you make your staff a ring? It's a +1 adder. Maybe if you punch somebody, you get the +5 bonus kind of thing or something, maybe. But in the first 5 spell lists, he's got minor and lesser. So lesser's got, 2 and also a +10 bonus. And so, being the power gamer I am, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to form my rapier into a staff. Not that it looks like a staff, but that it has the staff property. So it gets the adders to it, and those magical bonuses as well, which on the lesser staff is plus 10. So that's you know that would be handy to have with my rapier. And then there are things you can do, like you can cast a rune on it so that it can hold a spell that you can then cast at will. You have to put the spell in it, but it comes with no prep time. Or you can do this weird light, I think it's called, where it allows the tip to glow with varying ranges, varying intensities up to 50-foot radius. So these are the aspects that if he's got on his staff, he doesn't have to use the flashlight anymore, and that extra bonus would help. And obviously, the plus 5 wouldn't add on because it's already plus 5. But when he does the lesser and gets a plus 10, that's plus 10 instead of plus 5. That's something. So these are things going on in my head. But didn't have a chance to actually look at the wind law and the light law list to see what they do. I know the shock bolt goes up to 300 feet instead of 100 feet. Increasing range kind of stuff happens all the time. But I didn't get to see what the other stuff does. I'll have to take a look at it later. So there's a lot of this quiet time stuff going on through most of the recording. I mean, look at it, it's 6 hours long, right? You, yeah. There's a few spots in there where we got some nice role playing going on and some action kind of happening, but in between it is a lot of this discussion kind of stuff. Um, that may be of interest, but may not. For example, Runt spending time at the temple, doing his duty, and he gets called up to the front door, and there's a sailor there that says, "Are you Runt?" Who's asking? Well, I'm asking. I was told by the blind woman to get Runt to the temple. I've got boxes for him. And so everybody's got to figure out what he's talking about these boxes. What's going on? And the sailor takes Runt, and of course the sailor's being a sailor, so he stops by a tavern, sees other sailors. They start drinking. He's not in a big rush or a big hurry. He's just having a good time. I'll get you back to the ship soon. And it got all convoluted. And so Runt finally gets to the dock, and he gets Hjalmar. Hey, find out what's going on. Or find Raymond, or get the temple. But somehow Raymond gets down there on the docks with them. All the three of them are together. Wes is at the Mages Guild trying to get his spell list up. That's what's going on with him at this time. And Raymond sends Runt, I think, the temple. Because they're thinking, we'll get the boxes and we'll take them to the temple. And Runt's thinking, I'll get Helmir. He's big and strong. He can carry the boxes. And Runt gets to the temple and is asking about getting people to bring boxes up. And, that's a hefty to do kind of thing. Don't you want to get a wagon instead? Just travel things around. We're not going to carry stuff around all over the place. So there's wagon stuff going on there. And then Raymond's down on the dock and he gets accosted by the dock master going, "Hey, these are your boxes. We need to get rid of them. They're in the way. There's going to be, if you leave them here, there's going to be tax for them," kind of thing, and that kind of stuff. Just being a hard ass on him. And he says, "Hey, we're getting, a wagon to come and take these wings." Well, she's the Teamsters. They're right here, and this kind of stuff going on. But we end up getting the boxes to the church. They come and get me. We all end up at the church, and we're all like, "Let's open the boxes." But Runt doesn't want to open the boxes yet. He's got some kind of fear about who this blind woman from the north is. And Helmir goes and talks to the captain, and that's all I really get. There's this blind woman from a city of the north, which I'm trying to know. Who would know? But next day, we open the boxes, and they're full of dirt. First thing I thought was vampires, but they're 6 foot long, right? But there are grapevines in a bunch of them, and grape seeds and some more. And there's a note that says, "Plant them with the dirt." And it had a little symbol, a little snake-like symbol. So we kind of put together, this is actually Lynch. Lynn's doing this for us. We also had a whole big, long discussion in live play about the villa and what we've been doing with it, and how much it's costing, and how much has actually been done so far, and hey, are there people living there, and are we maintaining them, and all this kind of stuff. So I was putting together a little note to everyone going, hey, we need to start this from the beginning because we've lost control, and we got money we've been stuffing into it, but it takes 8 weeks to do a vineyard. It takes 3 to 6 weeks to build a hut. We need 4 huts. There are 4 vineyards. Um, how much is this all going to cost? Because this is all cheap stuff compared to the villa itself, which is 4,000 silver. And these are like 10 silver, 60 silver, that kind of thing. 30 silver. Shoot, we can pay for this almost out of cash right now with what we have from the expedition. Oh, for the expedition, by the way, our cut was 2280, I think it was, which split between the four of us was 570 each, and then we kind of cherry picked what we wanted to get. I split with Raymond on some of the books, the alchemy books and the history books. Um, Wes took the wizard staff spell book out of his cost, his cut. There's a +1 axe and a +1 elvish spear, which I kind of think, hey, Helmar can use both of those. So above board, Helmar probably should have both. But during gameplay, Runt was using the spear, and he was specialing people left and right. It was amazing. So we all think that he can actually use a spear, and so have him use it. And then there's okay, we need, are we going to tithe and that kind of stuff? And so we're trying. Some of us are trying to be religious people, and so we're tithing and that kind of thing. Um, and we're taking funds out, and so what's left over is going into the villa. Well, we start figuring out the villa is going to cost us later on. We get back to the villa, and it's going to cost us because there's certain things we need to do, and one item we want to do, and that's the irrigation. The irrigation actually gives you a bonus modifier to your harvest roll at the end of the year. So there's the well, which needs to be repaired, not built. A well takes 3 weeks and costs 60 silver to build. There's already a well there. We just need to repair it, kind of thing. But whatever. But we need to build a barn because they would have burned the barn down, and apparently we need to rebuild the fields because apparently they just thrashed all the fields. We knew they had to rebuild the huts. So the huts are like 8 silver total, right? Nothing. And but with all the fields and with the storage shed, storage something, not the barn, but there's a storehouse. The storehouse itself is kind of expensive. So altogether, it's like 428 silver, which between the 600 odd silver cash we had last time, plus the almost 200-ish silver that we've got cash this time, yeah, we can just take care of that. Pay for it. It's gone out of the way. Planting our vineyards with the new stuff, build the huts, get the families in there. Now they need to be maintained, and once the fields are done, they need to be maintained. And this maintenance cost thing got me looking, and to maintain the villa is 400 silver a year. A vineyard nets 40 silver a year. It takes 10 hides of vineyard to maintain the villa. We've got 4. So I'm not sure how the GM's going to handle this when we actually start figuring out, once everything's finished building, we're actually doing maintenance on everything every year, that this is not sustainable in any way, shape, or form. What else was going on? Boxes of dirt. Oh, Runt's Elvish Dagger. We're trying to figure out how we can get a repair. Obviously, it's going to take. There's only one person in town with the weaponsmithing skills to be able to work with steel, right? But it's also enchanted, so you're going to have a magician involved in maintaining the enchantment so they don't get destroyed while the repairing is going on. And we don't have the clout to get that done. We're telling Runt to go to the church. The church should be able to run interference for you and set that kind of stuff up. But he doesn't want to. He already owes them so much, and he doesn't want to be this personal debt kind of thing. But he ends up going. He talks to Hedda, and Hedda's kind of talking about puts him in his place. They're all here to help, and we can do things. So he mulls it over in his mind for a couple of days. Well, after he left, the GM reminded me about Emerald, the pseudo dragon, being a gem thief, and I only recall Wes actually seeing one gem, and so he knew there was one gem. And he kind of figured that she would be hiding them places, but no, they're showing the hood. But there's three of them. Where's the other two? I don't know. So I take one of those, I hand it off to Runt as he's leaving into town, saying, "Hey, use this to pay for getting the dagger repaired because it's going to cost like 160 silver. Plus, getting the Mages Guild involved and being able to access the actual armor and that kind of the weaponsmith and that kind of stuff. It's going to take some greasing." So that night, we're all sitting around the fire, and Wes says, "Emerald here," and he strikes her under the chin. Um, has sticky fingers. And he plops the two gems down on the table. "Here, we can put these towards the villa." And she jumps out, hisses, and grabs at one of them, flashes out her wings. And so there's this communication. She's still a baby pseudo dragon, so there's touch and go on what she can and can't do. But he's thinking really hard on her. "This roof protects your head too," that kind of stuff. "You need to pay too. You need to be a part of this." And so she's kind of pissed and she flies off. So we take the gems. And then the third day later, runs it down. He actually talks to the high priestess and says, "This is a situation." They have a little discussion there about, relationships with people and stuff. And the word, family, we're all family here. Well, his family was with Spider in the Assassin's Guild and stuff back in Telgar. And being family was not necessarily a good thing. And so they have a little discussion back and forth about that. But she says, "Here, give me the dagger. Or take the dagger to the Mages Guild and tell them that I will pay for it to be repaired." So he comes over to the Mages Guild, and Wes is there, and he tries to do his thing with the Wizards Guild or the Mages Guild. Here's the deck. He's stumbling because he's really shy about this kind of stuff, and you know, repair, Lorath, pay, that kind of stuff, and they ask him some questions, trying to figure what you're talking about. Okay, it'll take a couple weeks, maybe one, and you can pick it back up at the temple. And he comes and sees me and hands back the gem, saying he found another way to take care of things. So that night, around the fire after dinner and stuff, Wes takes the gem out and says, "She had a third one." So all the gems got put back into the manor house. I was actually kind of surprised. I thought the gems would be more. It is kind of. I mean, one was 39, one was 50, one was 42, which in the grand scheme of things, living wages for a farmer is 40 silver a year. So any one of these could feed a farmer's family for a year, right? So, that is, not cheap. But I was thinking in the hundreds myself, but it is what it is. Okay. And that pretty much covered the session. A couple of good role playing sessions pieces in there. A lot of mechanics. I'm trying to figure stuff out. And at the very end, I didn't quite turn it off in time because we're still talking about things, about spells and spell lists, and what does form a staff really mean, and what is a +1 adder, that kind of stuff, right? Oh, so hey, that's it. Happy gaming. Where's my mouse? There it is.